world where a single denim jacket isn't just a piece of clothing, but a cultural flashpoint that can literally crash the digital infrastructure of a global multi-billion-dollar corporation in less than 10 minutes. And think about the sheer, unadulterated power required to make that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ultimate deep dive into one of the most expensive, most secretive, and most successful marketing marriages in the history of modern fashion. The collision between the American legacy of Calvin Klein and the global phenomenon that is Jungkook of BTS. We are talking about a scale of investment that would make most Fortune 500 CEOs break into a cold sweat, because when Calvin Klein signs a check for a Jungkook campaign, they aren't just buying a face for a billboard. They are buying a ticket to the absolute center of the cultural zeitgeist. But exactly how many millions are we talking about? To understand the mystery, we have to look past the stunning black and white photography and peek into the high-stakes world of global talent fees, elite production costs, and the absolute monopoly on prime real estate from the streets of SoHo to the skyscrapers of Tokyo. This isn't just a photo shoot, it's a tactical strike on the global market that has redefined what it means to be a brand ambassador in the 2020s. We've seen the images, we've heard the screams of the fans, and we've watched the stock prices soar. But today we are breaking down the speculative millions that fuel this engine of desire, exploring every hidden dollar spent on lighting, logistics, and that elusive JK effect that money usually can't buy. Get ready for a journey through the high-end world of luxury marketing, where the numbers are as breathtaking as the visuals themselves and every shutter click of the camera represents a fortune in motion. The elite production paradox, the billboard monopoly, the multi-million talent fee speculation, the digital engagement war chest, the stock market surge. Let's start with the sheer scale of the production, because when you are dealing with an icon like Jungkook, you don't just hire a local wedding photographer and call it a day. You bring in the heavy hitters, like the legendary duo Murda Lass and Marcus Pigott, whose daily fees are whispered to be in the tens of thousands of dollars just for the talent alone, excluding the massive crew of stylists, lighting technicians, and high-end digital retouchers who work around the clock to ensure every single frame is a masterpiece of light and shadow. Imagine the logistics of securing a high-security set, the cost of flying an entire international production team to locations that range from the gritty, cinematic streets of New York City to private studios where the air itself feels expensive, and you quickly realize that the production budget for a single campaign could easily hover between $1 million and $2 million before a single ad is even placed. This is the world of S-tier fashion, where the catering alone costs more than most people's cars, and the equipment being used is the pinnacle of optical technology, all to capture that specific raw, 90s inspired aesthetic that Calvin Klein is famous for, but updated for a generation that demands perfection in every pixel. Then we move into the actual visibility, the physical dominance of the brand in the world's most expensive cities. Because while digital is king, there is nothing like the prestige of a 5-foot billboard in SoHo on Houston Street, where a single 8-day cycle can cost a brand upwards of $1.4 million just for that one specific iconic spot. Now multiply that by every major capital in the world: Seoul, Tokyo, Paris, London, Los Angeles, and you begin to see a global outdoor advertising, OOH, spend that likely reaches deep into the $10 million to $15 million range per campaign cycle, a staggering sum intended to ensure that no matter where you are on the planet, you cannot escape the gaze of the golden magnate in his denim glory. Industry insiders and marketing analysts often speculate on the actual talent fee, because someone of Jungkook's stature doesn't just sign a standard contract. He is a partner in the brand's legacy, and while the exact numbers are locked behind ironclad non-disclosure agreements, experts often compare these deals to the legendary heights of Michael Jordan or Beyoncé, suggesting that a multi-year global ambassadorship could easily be valued in the mid to high 7 figures annually, if not breaking the 8-figure ceiling when you factor in exclusivity and the sheer volume of content produced. This isn't just paying for a model, it's paying for a deity-level influence that can move mountains of merchandise. And when you look at how PVH Corp, the parent company of Calvin Klein, saw its stock price jump by a staggering 20% following the initial announcement of the partnership, moving from around $81 to over $130 per share in subsequent months, you realize that whatever Calvin Klein paid, it was arguably the greatest bargain in the history of the apparel industry. Think about the sold-out phenomenon where entire collections are wiped clean from warehouses in hours, creating a revenue stream that doesn't just cover the marketing costs, but generates a ROI, return on investment, that is practically unheard of in an era where most brands are struggling to stay relevant. We have to talk about the Earned Media Value, EMV, which is the metric used to describe the free PR a brand gets from social media mentions and news coverage. And for Jungkook, this number is astronomical, with reports indicating he generated a mind-blowing $30.4 million in fashion impact for the brand during a single campaign period, which means for every $1 million CK spends on the campaign, they are getting tens of millions of dollars in return through the organic passion of the army. The digital side of things is another massive cost center because those millions of views on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube don't happen purely by accident. They are supported by a sophisticated digital war chest of paid social placements, algorithm-optimized ad buys, and a 24/7 global marketing team that ensures the content is served to the right eyes at the exact moment of peak engagement. It's a reflective process to think about how fashion has shifted from the supermodel era of the 90s, where names like Kate Moss ruled the runway, to this modern era where a South Korean pop star can hold the entire Western fashion world in the palm of his hand, proving that the language of style and charisma is truly universal, and that the investment made by Calvin Klein is as much an emotional one as it is financial. Every detail of these campaigns, from the choice of a specific 90s straight-cut jean to the way the lighting highlights the tattoos on Jungkook's hand, is a calculated piece of a multi-million-dollar puzzle designed to evoke a sense of nostalgia, rebellion, and modern luxury all at once. When we look at the facts, the background of Calvin Klein's marketing strategy has always been about provocation and being at the forefront of the cultural conversation, and by spending these millions on Jungkook, they haven't just bought an ad, they've bought a moment in history that will be studied by marketing students for decades to come. The atmosphere on the day of a campaign launch is electric. A digital frenzy that shuts down servers and sets Twitter on fire. A testament to the fact that in the modern economy, attention is the most valuable currency, and Jungkook is the wealthiest man in the room. As we reflect on the sheer scale of this partnership, we see a brand that was once struggling for a clear identity in the 21st century, suddenly finding its heartbeat again through the pulse of a global icon, proving that when the right talent meets the right brand, the cost becomes secondary to the legend being created. It's a story of vision, of taking a massive financial risk that paid off in ways that no spreadsheet could have fully predicted, and as the black and white images continue to roll out, we are left to wonder just how much higher this partnership can go, and what new records will be shattered in the next campaign cycle. From the $1.4 million billboards to the $30 million in earned media, from the elite photography sets to the skyrocketing stock prices, the partnership between Calvin Klein and Jungkook is a masterclass in the power of the modern idol, a high-stakes game of millions that resulted in a billion-dollar legacy of style, influence, and unshakable global dominance. This is the new gold standard of the industry, where the lines between music, fashion, and finance blur into a single, breathtaking image of a young man from Busan standing tall over the skyline of New York City, reminding us all that in the world of high fashion, some things are truly priceless, even if they cost millions to produce. Would you like me to analyze the specific impact of his latest 2026 spring campaign on the PVH stock market trends in more detail?